The girls who are around my age, they're not going to want a bald guy. I try to keep it a secret. Eventually, I ran out of hair fibers. I was coloring in with a black marker. 20 years old is where I really started noticing significant hair loss. And then around like maybe 21, 22, started going up here. I started using like the hair fibers where you dab it on like that stuff. Like it wasn't like a wow moment really. It was just kind of like very slow process. I had a girlfriend and she pointed out like, oh, your hair's going. I was like, oh no, it's not. That's pretty bad if that is happening, but I didn't think much of it because it wasn't too bad. Then I started wearing a hat all of the time, and I would never take off the hat, even if it was extremely hot out. I didn't want to wear a hat. I was still wearing a hat anyway because that's how bad I felt about it. So I'm putting on the hat, and the hat got so sweaty and stuff. It was so uncomfortable. Yeah, it was a real mental insecurity, of course. Or else I wouldn't have thought that to myself.
Young guy losing the hair. What else did you feel like you're losing?
So I was definitely losing confidence just as a person in general because, my face, the forefront of me is now not looking the way I wanted to. Feeling like I look a lot older and I'm not going to connect with or align with people my age or especially women my age, and I'm going to have to go find some older women to be with, and that's not what I want. Like I want someone my age. So I felt like I was losing my youth. The girls who are around my age, they're not going to want a bald guy. They're going to want a young looking guy, particularly who has a full head of hair, and that's the only young look. I was thinking to myself, I have to have hair because I need hair. What am I going to do to still have full head of hair? Started looking into hair systems. I found out there was a hair salon in my area where I could go and get it done. It looked pretty cool at first. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I got more hair again. But then I started noticing, like, after a week after they put it on you and they style it and stuff, then it just starts to look like crap. I still continued on with it anyway. I was like, as long as I still got that hairline and stuff and there's no thinning, I was like, as long as there's hair there is all I cared about. So I was paying about 2,000 a year for that. Yeah, so I had to go in about every 3 months to get a new system redone and put it on, and they like basically like glue it on with adhesive, right? And sometimes it could seep out from under the hairline stuff, and you'd have to like take care of that. And sometimes it would actually get in the hair, and then that would never come out. There would be some times where hairs would actually fall out of it. I'd actually have to go back and use the hair fibers again and fill in that spot on the hair system. And then you're feeling like, oh, I wonder if people notice it's a hair system, or I wonder if they notice if the hairline looks real enough or not. And in a particular lighting, it might not look really real. You'd think that it'd make you feel more confident maybe at first, but then, thereafter using it for a while, you're just always thinking, like, is this really good enough for how I want to look?
What was it about the hair system that made you go for that?
I didn't want to do anything permanent, and I wanted that full head of hair look right away. I know it was a little expensive, but it was an easy process, and it gave me the closest look to a full head of hair, and especially straight away. And because it was something that could be done in my local area that someone would do for me, so I knew that they knew what to do, and they're like, okay, we're going to do this for you. We got your back.
How was like dating life during this time?
Well, yeah, it's good that you mentioned that because this is definitely a good point to bring up. Is when I was seeing women with the hair system, for one, I wouldn't tell them it's a hair system. I try to keep it a secret. So I'd see women go on dates and stuff and whatever, and try to play it off as it's real hair, and just don't tell them. And the way I would do that to an extent is I wouldn't let them touch my hair. I'd say, hey, if we're, getting closer to each other and whatever, I don't want you to touch my hair. And if it would get to that point where they would normally just touch your hair or something, I'd say, hey, look, I don't want you to touch my hair. I would just basically say, hey, I just don't like that. That's just me. When really, I didn't want them to find out that there was a hair system there, because if you touched it and you felt around enough, or maybe you went down on the side or the back, then you would feel that the hair system's there. You would come up on an edge or something and you'd feel that. So during that time, yeah, I mean, as I said, another insecurity. There was one time there was someone I was seeing and they did find out because this was the first person I went out and saw or dated when I got it. They were the first person. Yeah, they found out because at that point, I thought that the hair system felt all right. I thought you could feel around and it'd be okay. But this person, they started feeling around and then they came up on an edge and I didn't realize it was going to happen and they found out. Like, And they asked me after, they're like, okay, so what's on your head? And then I had to tell them stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, so it's a hair system. And they were all right with it. They're like, cool, yeah, you do you. And you want to have that there to look better or feel better, then cool. I started telling every other woman I've seen after that, just don't touch my hair no matter what.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, dude. I mean, I can't imagine. And so do you feel like because of that, you maybe stood off or held back in dating?
Yeah, I would say so because of the fact that, normally a woman would feel around and just want to feel, they want to like move freely and they don't want to be restricted. And, of course, people have their boundaries with that stuff, but the whole hair thing was just a bit weird. Like when you tell me that you don't want your hair touched, it's just a bit weird because they probably never heard that before. Maybe when I'm seeing this woman and we're just doing stuff or whatever, maybe she'll accidentally touch it. So what if she forgets to not touch it and she does, and then she finds out, and yeah, that was always in the back of my mind, so that made things just really stressful. And or what if it ends up slipping a bit, like as I said, it kind of deteriorates over time. What if it moves around a bit and stuff? And eventually I went on a trip to Mexico, and ever since then I'm rocking the ball book.
What was it that took you from the guy that wears the hair system to being like, okay, I can just take this off now? Because that's quite a big jump.
Before I went out the door to go to the airport, I did take it off and look in the mirror, and I thought, okay, actually, this doesn't look too bad. So then I just kept it off, put it in the book bag just in case, in my carry-on.
So you're rocking the kind of like the fade up, the side hair.
This was all shaved all around.
Ah,
Right? I was trying to do that because at this point I wasn't able to go to the hair salon who did it for me at this point. So I was stuck with this hair system that I already had for 3 months. It was falling apart. I didn't have the maintenance on the side or the back anymore. So I had to try to figure that out myself and blend it in. I tried doing it and it was really hard to do. Made it look even worse. I just shaved all around and I just slapped the hair system on top. It didn't look too bad. Maybe it looked like a 5 out of 10 in terms of how good it looked. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just try this anyway. Eventually I started looking at it even some more and I was like, no, this looks horrible. And the hair was falling out on the back. So I was going with the hair fibers and eventually I ran out of hair fibers. So I was coloring it in with a black marker. Finally I was going to Mexico and I looked in the mirror and took it off, and just, as I said, this was all shaved around, so it was just this look thing. I was like, okay, this actually doesn't look too bad. Take the hair system just in case I really do want to use it. But I never did use it again after that. I was doing a course down there, like a practitioner course for mental health and physical health. During the course, when the course was in session, some people would get up and speak about stuff about their life. It definitely was in correlation or in relation to me being able to talk about the hair system. So I did get up and talk about the hair system in front of the whole class and stuff and be like, yeah, my hair system's back in my book bag in my room. I just brought it here just in case, but here I am with this ball book. Since I came here now, I'm not wearing it because honestly, I didn't want to deal with it in Mexico, and I thought, okay, nobody knew me here, so I'm just gonna rock this, and they'll think that's just how I always looked. There was a graduation party for the class. So when we have a graduation party on the beach, which is where we went to do it, there's gonna be a bonfire.
Birthday fucker! All right. Hey, bald is sexy.
Absolutely, 100% better.
Got rid of it completely. As I said, it burnt in the fire, so that was it.
Yeah, it literally sort of sacrificed it to the hair god in the fire. You've got rid of the hair system. You've sacrificed it in the ceremony, and when you reflect back on it, yeah, what differences stand out for you?
No more insecurities. As I said, like when you got this hair system going on, you just feel insecure and you get that energy going on where you're always insecure, and that'll seep out into different parts of your life. So it made me feel really insecure overall, and just the fact like, do I really got to be wearing this thing just to live my life? So now that I'm not wearing it anymore, I'm just able to go out and just rock this, saving lots of money for sure. Being able to go out and not worry about that anymore. Being able to date and not have to tell people that I don't want my hair touched. Yeah, just a lot more confident overall, not just in terms of all the hair stuff, but just as a person anyway.
A big part of it for you was feeling attractive, dating, things like that. How has that side of life been?
Yeah, actually, like I'm pretty surprised. I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to settle for less. Basically, is what I thought when I do this. But no, I'm still able to connect with women that I would still want to see myself with.
Was there something along the journey that you feel like really helped you kind of get comfortable with it, or or just move past the insecurity of balding, that could help someone else out there?
I think like a lot of it comes down to, if you're looking at being attractive and stuff, a lot of it just comes to more so here instead of here, right? Like the one thing that made me get a hair system actually was I read a comment online that the comment said having a hairline aligns your face symmetrically, and it said the comment basically said you need that. And I believed it. I was like, okay, I need that. I need that. That's symmetrical alignment. You don't need that. A lot of your attractiveness comes from your face, and two, your personality and all these different things that you do with your life. Turns out there's a lot more things that go into being able to get a woman or just be confident.
Your message to the guy who's watching this video, listening to your story, who's perhaps losing his hair or he's rocking the system and he's feeling like absolute shit.
Basically, like, rock the bald look and just see how that goes. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. It matters what you think about you. When I thought about how I looked with it, I was okay with it, and I didn't care if someone else wasn't. All that matters is what you think about yourself, because what other people think, you're never going to satisfy everyone, but you can satisfy yourself.
Well said, mate. That was well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very good. Yeah, dude.
The whole hair loss industry is all manufactured, and they want you to buy their products and stuff, and they try to make you feel insecure about being bald. And it's really, it shouldn't be a real thing, but that's the way the world is with that stuff. And when it really comes down to it, like, all this insecurity that I had with the hair loss and the money I spent on it and all of these things that went on during the hair loss journey, I think it was all a bunch of nonsense and waste. Well, not like, yeah, waste of time, but really it was all part of the journey. But really, going through it, I look back on it, it was really ridiculous for me to spend all that money and do all these things. But as I said, it's part of the journey. But as I'm sitting here now with this hair, I was just thinking, like, what was I so afraid of? Or without this hair, what I should say. What was I so afraid of, right? Because now I feel better than ever than when all that was going on.
Yeah.